Okay, hello all my internet friends. So one of the fun things I did is I had some money come in a few months ago, and they were running a super sweet deal on this magazine subscription. It was like $22 for 2 years. How could I say no? Also, this is one that I have used many times in the past. Crochet World, if you are looking for crochet projects for everything from beginner to expert, they offer a huge variety. They have, it's not an expensive one. It's like $5.99 US for this. And what I love about this is they tell you what page each project is on. And you can go through real quick and you can decide if there's anything in here that you want to make. Hi, Vicki. And so if you're looking for a subscription, hello, Aurora. If you're looking for a subscription to a crochet magazine that's actually worth the money, I recommend Crochet World. They are often running specials. You can get it digital and or in your hot little hands like I like. This is their June edition. And I was just so excited because there's already 3 things in here I know I'd love to make. Even though I won't make them today or maybe in 6 months, there are projects in here I really like. And if you're worried about like these lacy ones that are using size 0 or whatever for or size 1 yarn, or using crochet thread, all those patterns can also be worked up as rugs, lace rugs, in worsted weight or bulky. And they're fun, and you can get a good handle on how to do these patterns. All right, well, that's my plug for a magazine I really like. Today we are going to be talking about, I had a request to cast on a beanie. Hello, Heather. So I went on Ravelry.com and I typed, I went to their pattern section and I typed in the word beanie and I clicked knit. And this is one of those I found that was a very simple unisex beanie. Bare bones, nothing super fancy. You can add a palm to it if you want when you're done, that kind of thing. And this is the Nice and Knit beanie, and I think I posted a picture of what it looked like on Ravelry, but you have to go to Ravelry to find it. And the company is called Nice and Knit, or the artist, I should say. So what they say here is you need worsted weight yarn. Worsted weight yarn. You need a size US number 8 or 9. And I have my size 9 double pointed needles. And I have my size 9 circulars. Now they're not attached yet, okay? And the reason I know they're 9s, these are that Addi click, A-D-D-I click. And they have this nice little, I don't know if you can really see it. There. They tell you. This one though, I have, this is a needle sizer. If you're not sure what your DPN is, oh look, it's a 9. Oh no, it's not a 7. Definitely not an 18. These are good. They're usually pretty inexpensive. I don't even know where I got this one from. Sometimes you just inherit them. Now Addi Click, I like them for circulars because the part that goes with the flexible join is smooth, and the join between the 2 parts is smooth. So that's why I prefer them to some of the more inexpensive ones. I mean, buy the inexpensive ones if you're not sure you're going to like circulars. But just be warned that using the circulars, and these are nice, you just put them in, twist, they're in. Now, this particular set that I got, the number 5s quit working, the spring broke, but everything else still works, so I'm still good. Now, they want you to use a size US number 8 or 9, 16-inch circular needle, okay? And by 16 inches, that's from here to here, okay? A set of US number 8 or 9 double-pointed needles. You'd want to keep the same size needles for the hat for both ones. Hi, Christy. When you are knitting these, you're going to start with the circulars, and when it comes time to start creating this part of the beanie, the crown shaping they call it, when it comes to that, that's when you're going to start switching to the double pointed needles. Now, if you do not want to use circulars, or you cannot get ones, but you do have double pointed needles, you can cast on and do it on the double pointed needles. You really can. It's not, I mean, you'll have a little more of the flopping around with the needles, but it's not as bad as you think. I forgot one little thing. I forgot a stitch marker. I will be right back. One of the more important things, especially when starting out knitting in the round, is to have either a scrap piece of yarn to mark your place, or to get a round needle marker. I happen to have a bunch of these. I used to have a bunch of the little teeny ones, but they get lost in couches and such. So, all right, so we're gonna get started on this. Now, you have to cast on and knit with your worsted weight and the US number 8 or number 9. You're going to cast on 84 stitches, and you can cast on using any method that you like. I'm going to use, and since there are a lot of stitches, you got to make sure you have quite a bit of tail. And I'm going to cast on using the long tail method. So we're going to be doing this for a few minutes. All right, so remember, when we do the long tail, the tail end is facing you, and your ball end, the bend that's to your skein, is facing to the back. Okay, so let's start. I could have cast these on ahead of time, and I thought about that, but then I realized that if you want to see how to cast onto circulars, you know, you're worried about them getting loose or whatever, it's not going to be bad. You do have to worry about twist, however, because as you're doing this, you're going to want to, you know, push your stitches down, right? And as it gets further down, you're going to obviously slide off the actual needle part onto the smooth string part, the circular part. You know, and sit and, you know, make sure, you know, you're going to get things twisted around and everything. Try for consistency. That's always the best. I've just realized I'm going slightly off camera. I keep migrating in this direction. I'm very sorry about that. Apparently I'm just leaning weird. All right, and you can stop every once in a while and count, obviously. So we're at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So we've only got 64 to go. 20, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we're at 25. 26, 7, 8, 9, 30. And you can get like even an earring or whatever to mark. This is 30, so you have to keep counting every time too. I didn't grab any of my extra, my lobster claw style or anything like that. I'm just casting on. If when you get to the end you find out you've got too much yarn at the end or not enough, if you get too much, just trim it. If you've got not enough, sorry, you have to start over. It's kind of a pain, but it is what it is. Okay, we're at 31, 2, 3, oops, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, off, too loose. There we go, 9, 40, 1, 2. So we're halfway there. Okay, and when I say twist, I mean, you'll see it has a tendency to do this.
I'm your huckleberry.
Oh, I forgot to turn off my notifications. There we go, that's done now. It will have a tendency to twist, just smooth it back around. It's not a problem. One, or it's 43, that's right, because I did halfway. 44, 45, 46, 47, 40, 48, 49, 50. All right, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, oops, 7, 8, 9. Okay, we are at 60, 24 stitches to go. Just keep pushing them down. That's the beautiful thing. The other nice thing about circulars is they don't make your hands as tired because they're not so heavy to hold. So that's what's nice about them. Because they're smaller, so they don't cramp your hands up as much. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, whoops, 9, 70. All right, we're getting into the home stretch here, homemade. And I'm going to be cutting this baby close. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, oops, 8, come here, 9, 80, 1, 2, 3, and 4. All right, there is 84 stitches on our circulars. And like I said, they will tend to twist. Just move it around, okay? Stretch it around. This might be, I think my circular might be just a little too long. And that can happen. I think this is 20 versus 16 inches. So when that happens, there's something you can do, and that is put it on your DPNs. Okay. Now, if your circulars are the right ones, the beauty part is, okay, if this were the right ones that fit together, you just put that on your right needle and go immediately into stitching your first stitch, and that will connect all of this. I, on the other hand, am going to have to do this on my DPNs. So I need to divide 84 by 4. So 84 by 4 would be 21 stitches, I think. So what I'm going to do, sounds kind of weird. So I want to bring them together, so I'm going to have to slip the stitches onto the DPNs. Bet you didn't know you were going to have to do that today, but if you've got the right size, see, I miscalculated. I do not have the right size circular, which means it'll stretch it out far too much and I won't be able to connect it. So sorry about that. I will show you on DPNs though, which is not as big a deal. If you have a set of 5, it's a lot less. You can have laddering happen. So I've shown you this before. You just take your DPN and slide it off onto there. Easy peasy pudding pie. But you just slide them off, and you just have to be a little careful with your DPNs. And again, if you have problems with the DPNs hanging around and hanging up, just get a pillow, something that will hold everything up so you can rotate it around. Very easy to do, and these are not as scary as you think they are. 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 15, 16, yeah, come on, 17, 18, 19. And when I said smooth, you see here the join? Okay, see it through here? A little bit. On a lot of the ones that are not the click style, that are not the adjustable sizes, you know, you can slip them around. This tends to catch on your yarn, the little where the join is. The Addy click, I have not had that happen, or it happens a lot less. So that's something to consider when you're buying the needles, because while you might be tempted by the prices of the cheaper ones, they do tend to. I mean, they tend to warp around. Their cord tends to warp around, and it's not smooth. It can be difficult. So we're at 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 19. Oh, did I do that right? Sometimes I count wrong. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. No, I was at 19. And here's 21. Okay, so I've got 21 on this stitch. Or on this needle. I'm gonna get a second needle. Now I've shown you before that it was the doily style washcloth, and you were doing it off of the, you know, you do it on 1 and you slide them around until it's just 3. Doing it with 4 is no different. Less laddering, which is where you have a stretch between joins and it looks like a ladder because the stitches separate, which happens. It can be fixed, but it's best if you can nip it in the bud. And using 4 needles versus 3 actually does seem to get rid of that. Now the size 7 DPNs only seem to come in sets of 4, so I bought 2 sets. So if I ever lose any, I've got some. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 15, 16. There are all kinds of 17, 18, 19, 21. I have several different sizes of the DPNs, and they can go as small as triple, I think it's quadruple-aught. And those are like little teeny thin ones, and you use them with socks. Or I have a friend who's interested in me making 1/6 size clothing for specialty dolls, which I would love to do. I've never done that. I would love to do that. So, and you would use that for lacy little things, or socks, or baby garments. Dollhouse stuff. I have an ebook that is how to knit like cushions and all kinds of interesting things for a dollhouse. So I also have one that's on embroidery and needlepoint, and I've never really done needlepoint. I mean, you do when you're a kid, when you're doing those weird plastic canvas things, but this is slightly different. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Oops, I counted wrong. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 17, 18, 19, 21. But when I was starting out making socks, I bought double pointed needles because I was comfortable using them already. I had already made hats and things. But there are a lot of there's ways to make to make socks on double pointed needles, circular needles like this, which is interesting. Toe up, toe down. I may eventually get to doing a sock on here at some point. Let me double check my count on this one. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20. I have 21 on this one, so I'm gonna slide them right off. That way I don't have to count while I'm talking to you. So circular needles have, they've been around a while. They were, I mean, the modern ones are obviously much different than what earlier ones, which were probably string tied to a double pointed needle for making shawls and blankets and stuff. And if you're going to knit a blanket or a shawl, you need a circular needle. The amount of stitches you will cast on, which will be usually 100 plus, depending on where you're starting with the shawl, is going to require that you use circular needles. So I recommend, if you're going to do it, invest in a nice, spend a little money on it. I mean, if you can. If you can't, I get that too. So, all right, push them down. Okay. 20. Oh, I lost a stitch. I don't know how I managed to do that, but I did. Okay, so now I'm going to move these out of the way. So now I won't have to change needles when it comes to crown shaping. I've already got it. And you can see here, I'm going to kind of straighten them out. Oops. Yeah, you want to straighten them out. Make sure everything is untwisted. And the twists are going to happen here. And you'll be able to tell if it's twisted. I mean, it's easy to tell. All right, so now we're going to take our 5th needle and we're going to, now your first, you're supposed to knit 1, purl 1 around. Now by knitting and purl, by doing a knit 1, purl 1, we're actually doing a rib stitch. Okay, so you just let them hang. Do not worry about these 3. Okay, you're only concerned with connecting this with this. And to do that, other than sliding that on there or doing the extra stitch like I've shown before, knitting the 2 together, you can also just start your knit, stitch. If I can get where you can see me. All right. And just really pull it nice and snug. Just pull it in nice and tight, okay? To make sure you know which needle is number 1. You can use the tail hanging down if you're good with that, but I just put that right in, right onto the working needle, and that will stay there. And that lets me know that this will be the first needle. When I get around and I see that one, I'll know that's the last one. So then we go for, pull your thing forward. Oops. See, this first round will be a little tricky. Always is. Nothing to be scared of. It is just knit stitches and purl stitches alternating to create the rib pattern. And the nice thing is you will be doing this stitch. You will not be changing to do opposite anything for 10 rounds. That is the part that will be snug on your head and stretchy, so it fits. It's kind of dark outside. We've been getting a lot of rain here in Virginia, which I suppose is not, unusual. It's spring, and it keeps the pollen down, that's for sure. Now this is, it's hanging around. Just move it out of the way. It's just hanging around waiting for its turn. Think of them as just impatiently waiting for their turn. All right, purl. What did happen here? What did I do here? All right. Oh, okay, that's a purl, it's a knit, purl, knit, purl, knit, purl, knit. Oh, because they're odd numbers. Okay, that makes sense. It's not an even number. 1. So you're going to end on a knit stitch on the first needle. Okay. Whoop. Okay, first needle. See, now you've got this needle that's dropped. It will become your new working needle. All right, and you can see that you are connected with the first and the fourth needles. All right, just pull yourself out a little more yarn. Now remember, we ended on a knit stitch on the first needle, so you need to go and do a purl stitch, which might feel a little fiddly, but you can get it. Anyone can do this. It's just like anyone can cook. And Bob Ross telling anybody they can paint. There are no accidents, just happy little trees, right? There we go. We got a purl stitch. Snug that up a little bit so you don't have a big gap between the needles. So snug it up. Give it a little tug on your working yarn. And then go right back into knit and purl. And you can, like I said, put a pillow down. Let those needles rest on those. You'll eventually get, they'll get out of your way. And then they'll get back in your way. And then they'll get out of your way. I oddly do not mind all these crazy needles. I've had people be like, they would drive me nuts. And I could see that. I mean, really. But it's not as crazy as you think it is, because you just kind of ignore the other needles until it's their turn. You just look around them. You can see this one's trying to get in my way, right? I just ignore it. Purl. So we're going to end on a purl stitch with this one. Oh, there we go. And after your initial round here, this actually gets much easier and will go much faster. Now, your tail is going to be a pain in your butt. And it's going to try to get itself in to your work. And it's going to be like, hey, I'm just a tail hanging out here. And you can be like, no, you stay away. If it drives you too batty, you can kind of like ball it up a little bit or whatever. But just if it gets in your way, just move it. Okay, so we ended with a purl. You can see it's a purl stitch. It has the bar going over it. So now this third needle, we're going to start with a knit stitch, and we will probably end with a knit stitch. So if you're doing it this way, if you prefer even numbers, some people do, just make sure each needle has 20 stitches and that the last one has 24. And that will get you the requisite 84 stitches. Now, if you wanted to make this for not an adult or a teenager, you could reduce the needle size and make it for a toddler using a size 6 or even a 5. That would work. You wouldn't have, like I said, you wouldn't have to change anything except the size of the needles. And that would give you, I'm sure, plenty of room for those massive toddler heads. I mean, be honest, we know how big those toddler heads are. We love our kids. My kids have not been little in a very long time. In fact, my youngest is 14 and he's already just about 6 foot. And that's my baby. He's 6 foot. But that's okay. We just kind of roll with it. All right, we're almost to the end. Here's our purl stitch. And there's our knit stitch. And make sure you push those towards the center so they're in the center of your needles. Okay? All right, we are on our 4th needle. I'm going to take a quick sip of coffee. Oh, that's good. Kona. Okay, wireless connection. So there's probably going to be a gap here. I'm sorry. All right, so we're going to purl. I could do this upstairs, but I just don't have a table that would work right there. I just have my desk, and I would have to like literally remove so many things. But also, I'm sure everybody has noticed their internet being crazy wackadoo. So, with everybody on the internet, come here. Whipping that tail out of the way, pulling out a little more. All right, so where were we? We just purled, so we're going to knit. Purl. Now it is going to be a loose. It is going to be a little loose between the two, the 4th and the 1st needles. That's okay. It is actually okay. When you go to weave in the end, down here, you will actually sew that gap a little bit shut, and it will be very seamless looking. Trust me, I'm a semi-professional. All right, there we go. Okay, tug that tail end a little bit to tighten up that last stitch. Okay, so tighten that up, tail end. All right, round 1 is done, and you can see it looks kind of sloppy, but when you get about 3 rounds in, you're gonna see the pattern, and it's gonna really work well for you. All right, so let's do another round. What I think I will do is I will do another round like this, then I'm going to shut off the live, and I'm gonna get to the part where I show the next. Thank you, Carrie, I love you too. Miss you. I'm gonna show you about 1 or 2 more rounds like this, but it'll get really boring and I will lose my voice if I try to do all 10 rounds with the live. Once I show you another round or 2, then I'm going to shut off live for a little bit, and I'm going to come back when I finish the 10 rounds, show you what it looks like, and then talk to you about the next section. Okay? I figure that's fair to everybody. They're not stuck just listening to me babble. Okay, make sure you slide your stitch marker, whatever it is, if it's extra yarn or if it's a little silicone thingy like what I have, whatever. So remember, it's a knit purl. So knit 1, purl 1. And if you feel like your others are sliding, just move them back into place. Very easy to do. They will, like I said, they're impatiently waiting their turn. Just don't let them boss you around. They are not the masters. You are. You put them in their place by keeping them back. So I posted earlier, my cat is like a toddler. I actually had to, because I was heading to the bathroom and he was following me because you can't go to the bathroom without him scratching at the door. And so I saw a squirrel out on the back patio here. And I went, oh, look, Ponger, a squirrel. And I kind of walked by the window and I pointed it out and he saw it and then he just stopped and he was entranced and he was stalking it from inside. So I quick ran to go to the bathroom because I just wanted to go to the bathroom in peace. I did not want to have this cat scratching at the door. So, all right. Round. See, you can already see the rib pattern. And this is kind of fun. This is fun to use like a self-striping yarn with, or one that has random colors in it. This is that Neapolitan one. It looks like Neapolitan ice cream. And I've had this almost a decade, and I've done nothing with it. So I think I might actually finish this beanie with this hat, with this yarn. I won't wear it. Nobody in my house will wear it. Now remember, second needle, we're starting with a pearl. Okay, I forgot to tell you that. So maybe when I'm done with it, if somebody wants it, I'll just send it to you, because it's a soft yarn. It's a comfy yarn. It actually came with a pattern for fingerless mitts. And I think I was going to make fingerless mitts with it, and I just never got around to doing it. And then I just didn't like the colors very much, or I just wasn't enamored with them like I used to be. And I only bought one skein, so it's not like I could use, you know, I could use it for something like a baby blanket or something. So, once again, if you're looking, if there's a pattern you want me to demonstrate, hook me up and I'll see what I can do to demonstrate. If you're having if you have a problem that you're not sure how to fix it, or if you just don't understand exactly what they're asking. And you can see here, look at this, it's all twisted itself. Just move it back. Take a minute, move it back. It'll do that. I mean, they will test your patience. And I think that's probably why people don't like DPNs as much as they like circulars. And I understand that, but if you don't have the right circulars, you're just gonna have to kind of go with what you got. All right, so we're ending on a purl stitch. Remember, we're gonna be then put the yarn behind so we can do. All right. All right, let's go and do a knit and a purl. And I make it look easy. This is literally all I did for the longest time. When I was a kid, and those of you who knew me in elementary, on school on up, I read constantly. I was a reader, but I also drew. I was a drawer. I drew everything and anything I possibly could. I really like to draw. I had this stuffed animal. It was a critter. If you remember Critter Sitters, you're old like me. And it was the sad-eyed dog. And I still have this dog. I got to sew his arm back on him. And I drew him with oil crayons when I was like 9. Okay, so I just sat and drew. I drew my house. I drew anything I could draw. I was always drawing. My mom always made sure I had paper, pencils, crayons. I colored and colored and colored, even though I could barely color in the lines because singing the lines is boring. But you know, you do what you gotta, right? Anyway, but that's all I did is I drew. And I practiced at it. By the time I hit high school, I admit, I think I was pretty good. Now, was I good enough to go on professionally? No, nowhere near. But that's okay. That is okay that I was not going into art. Remember, we're starting with a purl stitch on that 4th needle. I wasn't going to go into art. I should not have gone to school for it. I mean, although I did learn some very valuable things. Art is so subjective. Unless you're teaching techniques, which unfortunately where I was at they weren't, there really wasn't a lot they could teach me other than give me a place to practice. But I think I kind of had reached my peak. And that's not to say everybody was wrong or that, you know, I wasn't any good. I think I'd reached my peak at high school with as far as I could go with drawing. And I just honestly could not go any further. And I can't paint to save my soul, so. And that's all they wanted to teach me was painting or have me do. So when I finally, at 35, re-picked up needles because I wanted to quit smoking, because when you smoke, you know, if you have any kind of addictive behavior, you need that feeling it gives you, right? And so I would have a cigarette and then I would quit. I would quick knit a row or 3, whatever I was doing. And I have been knitting and crocheting practically nonstop for 10 years. So if that, well, dang near 10 years. I think it's 9 years this year. Yeah, it's 9 because I just turned 44. And I invested, just like I did with my drawing, I invested all my free time into studying stitches, studying patterns, studying yarns, feeling yarns, going out and going to yarn festivals and things like that. I spent my time doing that because it gave me a better satisfaction than that cigarette did. It gave me that same satisfaction that drawing did. And so, I joined Ravelry, I wrote blogs, I immersed myself in this. And that's why it looks easy when I do it. I don't want you to think you can't do that. You can do that. You can do any of this. You can do double pointed needles, you can do circulars, you can do teeny needles, you can do great big arm knitting things, which I can't do because I have no interest in it. And that's just everybody's, oh, I could never do that. I crochet for crap or whatever. You know what? It doesn't matter if you crochet for crap. If you enjoy doing it anyway, just do it. Same goes with painting, embroidery, kind of cross stitch, baking the best cake you possibly could, decorating your home the way you want it done. Just every day, take time and do it, even if it's just for 5 minutes. Get that feeling that you could get from a quick cig. You know what I'm saying? All right, I'm gonna continue on with this, and I will show you what it looks like after I get to round 10. I've just got done with 2, and I'm gonna hit number 3. I can go faster when I can hold it in my lap and do it. So, yeah, I could flip this around, you could watch me, but seriously, no, we're not doing that. I will be back probably in about 15 minutes, give or take. I'll see you in a bit. Bye-bye.